Susan, it's you. You're a housewife. Please make more time for your husband, David.
So, dear Mel, as I've said before, that seems to be a stereotyping. However, my words were cut off, and the call from my Mel ended abruptly. I sighed over this infinite cycle of conversations. My name is Susan. I married David, my husband of same age, through a workplace romance. We're approaching our 10th wedding anniversary, and soon both of us will be heading 40. Blessed with our adorable daughter, Emily, we live happily every day. I would like to say that, but there is one major concern. It's the presence of my Mel. My husband David may be a bit timid, but he's calm and very kind. My father-in-law is also like my husband, calm and kind, but my Mel, from my perspective as her daughter-in-law, is pretentious, strong-willed, and tries to have everything her way. According to my husband, he had a rather stifling childhood, as his mother never listened to his opinions and always imposed her ideals on him. It seems that my Mel, for some reason, just doesn't like me, her son's wife. She keeps nagging me at every opportunity.
I heard from the neighbors that you have David doing the preschool drop-off and pick-up for Emily.
Yes, what about it?
What about it? It's shameful for a mother like you to not do the drop-offs and pick-ups for your daughter and have your husband do it instead.
What's shameful about a father doing the drop-offs and pick-ups?
It's because of David's earnings that you can live. It's unbelievable that you're fed by my son and even have him take care of the child.
With all due respect, it's odd to say I'm being fed by him. We're a family, so the finances are shared.
Be quiet. You always have an answer. Such an ungrateful daughter-in-law.
If she didn't start it, I wouldn't have said anything. It seems that to my Mel, a wife should serve and obey her husband. She repeatedly tells me to devote myself to my husband. It doesn't seem like she herself is devoted to her husband, but apparently that's a different story. Not satisfied with just nagging over the phone, sometimes she does it also in public.
Really, Susan, despite being supported by my son, you make him help with the housework too. It's just so embarrassing.
You say things you think are embarrassing loud enough for others to hear. Isn't that more embarrassing?
How can you say such things in public?
So you're embarrassed after all. Your face is all red, Mel. She even resorts to insulting me like this. I had discussed this with David multiple times, but he says, no, you're not losing. You're doing fine, and doesn't take it seriously. It doesn't sit right with me. It's quite stressful. However, there's something else that troubles me even more. Actually, our household sends as much as $2,000 each month to my husband's parents. The financial support started at the request of my Mel. Initially, it used to be $1,000, which was reasonable. However, as the amount kept increasing at my Mel's insistence, it has now reached $2,000 per month. I'm not against the financial support itself. Despite such a Mel, we are family, and if really needed, we should help each other, if it's truly necessary. However, considering my father-in-law's retirement fund and pension, I have repeatedly told my husband that this amount is too costly for us. My husband seems to have doubts about the $2,000 monthly amount, but maybe because he is forced by his mother, he finds it hard to tell her upfront. Excuses such as my father-in-law's medical expenses for his chronic illness or the need for repair funds for the family house seems reasonable, so he backs down. Since I am also involved with my in-laws' finances, I can't really speak out much about it. It probably involves my father-in-law's pride as well. One day, I was surprised by what my husband said. Apparently, my Mel is demanding to increase the remittance amount more. Wait, we're already sending $2,000 a month. We simply can't afford more than that. We have Emily to think about. I want to save properly for her future. Even my husband seemed to have reservations about the demand for more money, saying, right, this time I'll definitely decline it myself. However, the next day, while I was working from home, I received a direct call from my Mel.
So, you told David that he should not increase the amount we receive?
It seems my husband did convey our thoughts to his mother this time. Yes, I did say that. Although it was supposed to be communicated as our family's opinion, my Mel seemed to understand it as me intimidating my husband.
What do you mean? What right do you have to say such things?
Right or not, it's money from our household budget, and I am part of it.
Unbelievable. It's natural for David to send money he earned to his own parents. You, a housewife who does in turn, shouldn't have a say. A wife who's only good at talking and eats up the food. We don't need someone like you.
In response to this insult, just as I was about to respond, she said, "You're an unbelievable wife. Just divorce my son already. I'll tell him the same." And then she hung up the phone. Although it felt like something outrageous was said, honestly, not wanting to be involved further, I didn't call back and just returned to my work. After a while, the doorbell rang. With a sense of dread, I looked at the intercom monitor and saw my Mill, who I had just been talking to on the phone. My Mill had come to our house. Upon seeing me, my Mill, who had arrived unexpectedly, said with a smug look, just as I thought. You're not working, just at home." I responded, "I work from home, and I'm currently working," but she scoffed, "Working from home? Yet you're just a housewife," and barged into the living room. She then sat down on the sofa and gestured for me to sit across from her. Reluctantly, I sat down and she said, "Well, fine. Here, I brought this with me," and took out a set of paper from her bag, spreading it on the table. "What is this?" I asked.
Oh, can't you see? It's divorce papers. These things are better done quickly.
Indeed, it was unmistakably divorce papers. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Are you divorcing your husband, Mill? Is this what they call a gray divorce?" But it seems I was wrong. Well, I had my suspicions. At my words, my Mill's face turned bright red.
No, these divorce papers are for you and my son.
"Oh my, Mel, you really have no sense for gifts." I respectfully decline.
It's not a gift. Can't you understand this is my way of saying you're not suitable as my daughter-in-law, so get a divorce and leave?
What a coincidence. I'm also indirectly saying, please don't say such nonsense things. Suddenly thrusting the papers at her son's wife. This truly crosses the line, even compared to the previous harsh words. Does she not realize how disrespectful she is? Not just to me, but also to her own son and granddaughter? Inside me, something snapped. "What do you plan to do by driving me out?" I was surprised at how calm my voice sounded.
Nothing really. A daughter-in-law who doesn't fulfill her duties is just a waste of money. Without you, David could increase the amount he sends to us without worries.
No, rather, the financial support will not just be reduced, it should be stopped. I deliberately gave a beaming smile.
What? Why?
Why? Because the $2,000 that's being sent to you, I'm the one earning it. It must have been an unexpected revelation for her. My Mill's eyes widened for a moment, but then she raised her voice.
What are you talking about? You're a housewife, aren't you?
That's why I've said it many times. I am not a housewife.
What?
Do you even know what David's current profession is?
He used to work at a major accounting firm, but now he's established himself as a certified accountant independently.
I've said this many times before, but that's actually me. Yes, we have explained this numerous times to my Mill, both from my husband and myself. However, it seems she only hears what she wants to hear, ignoring our explanations. I worked at the same accounting firm as David, then got my certification and started my own practice. To clarify once more, I am the one who became an independent accountant, not David. I've set up an office at home, and thanks to both long-standing and new substantial contracts, business is booming. So much so that I can afford to send $2,000 a month for you and your husband. My Mill, bombarded with these explanations from me, seemed unable to comprehend the situation.
Then what about David? What is he doing?
David takes care of the house and occasionally helps with my work. If anything, he's the stay-at-home husband. He mainly handles the household and cares for our daughter Emily, even baking cookies for me with her during weekends. My Mill must have felt confronted with a reality she never anticipated. Her face, once flushed with excitement, quickly turned pale.
Unbelievable. David has always been excellent. Went to a prestigious university, got a job at a major accounting firm, and was supposed to become an accountant.
So, you've been imposing your ideals on David, haven't you? He told me that he actually loved cooking, doing the laundry, and cleaning more than studying since he was little. But he couldn't say it because he would be scolded by you. Yes, our marriage has the roles reversed compared to the so-called traditional couple. We met as colleagues at the same accounting firm. Our personalities were opposite, yet we hit it off right away. Eventually, as we started to consider marriage, we realized that our values for marital life matched perfectly. I love my work and thrive on being active professionally outside the home. My husband loves household chores and wants to focus on the home. We're like a pot and its lid that fit perfectly. While we may differ from the conventional image of a married couple, this is the ideal form of married life for us. As the wife, I work outside and carry the financial burden, while my husband takes care of the home. After our daughter was born, it was David who took parental leave. A few years after giving birth, with my husband's dedicated support, I successfully obtained my certified public accountant license. From our home, I established my independent practice. Following this, my husband quit his job and devoted himself to being a stay-at-home husband. The years leading up to my independence, as I studied hard for my qualifications, are fondly remembered for the loving husband-made lunches he provided daily. Perhaps at this point, my Mel started to understand that what I was saying might not be nonsense. Sensing the tide had turned against her, she began to mutter things like but or no, so hesitantly. However, I promptly asked her to leave, saying, "Sorry, but I'm swamped with work. Could you please go?" Of course, I immediately told David about his mother's sudden visit with the divorce papers when he returned from grocery shopping for dinner. My husband, upon hearing his mother's outrageous actions, was utterly speechless and disheartened. Then, as if the last straw, he decided to sever ties with his mother that very day. Ever since he was a child, his mother hardly listens to him, always imposing her own ideals, which must have troubled him deeply. After cutting ties, my husband seemed, in fact, relieved. Naturally, my father-in-law quickly became aware of this situation. As a result, it was revealed that my mother-in-law had accrued a significant amount of debt and was using my father-in-law's entire pension for its repayment each month. She had been having us send money to cover living expenses as a way to hide this fact. The debt was due to my mother-in-law's wasteful spending and gambling. She apparently funneled a considerable amount of money into gambling. She had squandered my father-in-law's retirement and savings, and when that wasn't enough, she borrowed from less reputable sources, leading to a substantial interest burden. Realizing that her husband's pension and our monthly $2,000 were insufficient for repayment, my mill likely hoped to receive more money from us. However, she needed to remove what she saw as an obstacle first. To her, the obstacle was me, her daughter-in-law. She probably thought that without me, she could make her son send more money. So, unbelievably, she came just to shove divorce papers to her son's wife. It was a short-sighted plan. Afterwards, once her debt was discovered by my father-in-law, it was only natural that she faced his rejection too, disowned by her son and divorced by her husband. Now, my mill lives alone in a cheap apartment, working part-time from morning till night to pay off her debts. According to acquaintances, she is completely disheartened by the days spent without seeing her son and granddaughter. While I feel a bit sorry for her, she has put herself in that situation. After all, what is borrowed must be paid. As for us, although the amount has significantly decreased, we continue to send money to my father-in-law, whose retirement and savings were squandered by my mother-in-law. My father-in-law regrets not being able to stop my mother-in-law's reckless behavior and leaving the household finances entirely to her, and initially hesitated to accept our offer to send money. However, he understood our stance that helping each other is natural for family. And as the main breadwinner of the family, I am working even harder. This is possible because I have my kind husband always by my side to support me. Together with our lovely daughter Emily, we three enjoy our happy days.